Emerging Threats Hub. What if a sophisticated cyber attack combined with incompatible data protocols creates a fog of data within NATO's allies during crisis?
I have selected the article, Cloud Interoperability Between Allies During Crisis. While many articles discuss new tanks, drones, or geopolitical shifts, this piece reveals a more subtle and fundamentally modern vulnerability: the digital architecture of alliance warfare. It moves beyond the what of military hardware to the how of collective action. Its speculative potential is immense, allowing for a what-if scenario that transforms a technical exercise into a moment of catastrophic, real-world failure. This topic is highly relevant for listeners that understands conflict is increasingly fought in the information domain, and it perfectly aligns with the podcast's mission to demystify complex, systemic threats that hide beneath the surface of daily news. What if, during a major Baltic Sea confrontation, a sophisticated cyber attack combined with incompatible data protocols creates a fog of data within NATO's command structure, causing an AI-powered defense system from one member state to misinterpret a friendly force's signal as an enemy attack and open fire? The first minutes would be defined by chaos and confusion. Within the affected unit, there would be immediate casualties and frantic calls for clarification that go unanswered, or worse, are contradicted by conflicting data streams. In NATO command centers from Brussels to national capitals, screens would flash red with blue force on blue force, alerts triggering emergency deconfliction protocols, while simultaneously scrambling to understand if the entire network had been compromised. Politically, it would be an inferno. The nation whose troops were hit would demand immediate accountability and a halt to all operations. The nation whose AI system fired would enter a defensive crouch, claiming its systems were fed corrupted data by the alliance's own network. The public, fed through social media leaks, would panic, sending financial markets into a tailspin and shattering public faith in the promises of modernized, high-tech warfare. 1 year later, the alliance would be fundamentally fractured, operating more as a treaty of mutual suspicion than a cohesive military force. Russia and China would exploit this schism relentlessly, using disinformation to deepen mistrust. Technologically, the event would trigger a global AI winter for military applications, as nations slam the brakes on autonomous systems integration. This would paradoxically lead to two opposing outcomes: a frantic, unregulated arms race in black box AI by nations that feel they can't afford to fall behind, and a concerted effort by others to create simpler, human-in-the-loop systems with provable logic. The data sovereignty debate would become paramount, leading to a splintering of the global internet into competing sovereign clouds, erecting a digital iron curtain. In 5 years, the economic cost would be staggering, as global tech, logistics, and finance, all built on the premise of interoperability, are forced to navigate a fractured digital landscape. NATO might still exist on paper, but its ability to conduct a complex combined operation would be gone, perhaps forever. For the soldier on the ground, the psychological impact would be profound. The technology meant to protect them would have become their most unpredictable threat. Trust in digital systems would evaporate, forcing a regression to slower analog communication methods, a return to maps, radio checks, and runners, making them more vulnerable but also more certain of their targets. The event would leave deep scars, not only on the soldiers who were attacked, but on the entire alliance's fighting force. For civilians, the abstract fear of cyber warfare would become viscerally real. The idea that a line of code or a data glitch could ignite World War III would enter mainstream consciousness, creating a constant, low-level anxiety. It would erode the post-Cold War sense that Western nations were fundamentally aligned and on a path of stable integration, replacing it with a fragile and distrustful new reality. It is entirely possible that this scenario would not lead to a catastrophic collapse. The human-in-the-loop doctrine, still paramount in most NATO forces, could prevent the disaster at the last second. A human commander, trained to distrust anomalous data, might override the AI's recommendation seconds before an engagement. If so, the event wouldn't be a catastrophe, but a digital Cuban Missile Crisis, a terrifying near miss that forces a painful but essential reckoning. it could spur the creation of new, rigorous international standards for AI ethics and data interoperability, complete with transparent audits and shared verification protocols. Far from fracturing the alliance, this moment of shared vulnerability could force a deeper, more resilient integration, born from the understanding that, in the digital age, our fates are genuinely linked by the invisible threads of code. What if the greatest threat to NATO's future wasn't a missile, but a single line of faulty code that turned allies into enemies in the heat of battle?